Hi, friends. Welcome to the Writing Bell. I'm SBH. I'm here to help new authors write, finish, and publish their first book. Update: I've been sick. You can probably still hear it in my voice. I've been bedbound for over a week, very low energy. I barely wrote anything. I did do a lot of catching up on Netflix. I watched a lot of YouTube, mainly stuff on writing, and a lot of stuff on how to make money using AI. I fell into that rabbit hole, but I found out a lot of interesting stuff. But anyhow, I will definitely try to incorporate that as far as the marketing goes with selling this new book that I'm working on now. Also, I finally plugged in my pretty pink microphone. I hope you love it. I love it. Also, now that I'm feeling better, I was able to get back to my work in progress. I am on chapter 52 of 66 in my story, which have I told you about my story yet? I don't think so. I'll tell you a little bit about my story later on in this video. First thing I wanted to do was answer a question that I got based off one of my other videos, and I thought that we could all kind of relate to this one. Let me know if you can relate to this. The question came from a very kind person. I'm not going to name any names, but they said, hi SB, I've been listening to an audiobook, thinking to myself, I should be writing my own book and not listening to one. And any suggestions on a first step? So what I would say with this is, yes, I do have suggestion. But first, I want to say that you should continue to listen to your audiobooks, continue to read, whether it's on audio or visual or braille, whatever it is. You need to basically feed your mind, feed your imagination. So continue reading as much as you can. As much as your circumstances allow you. I know there's a lot of stuff I want to read, but I always have excuses on why I can't, so my TBR list is pretty long. I have quite a few books on my shelf now that are TBR, but we will try to make time for that. Maybe we'll make a plan in another video. So anyhow, my first suggestion, well, actually, let me tell you what I did. What I did when I got started was I watched a lot of YouTube and I got a lot of advice from a lot of different people. Maybe I'll make a list of everyone I watched that I actually got something from and incorporated in my own writing process. But from the YouTube, I first got Write a Brain Dump. So I know that kind of sounds yuck, but brain dump is basically writing out all the ideas you can think of that interest you. Don't worry about it interesting other people. Write about stuff that interests you. And after I did my brain dump, I chose my favorite topics from that brain dump, and I basically found all of the related tropes that would interests me most when I was reading, like one trope was like in all the movies I see now, like the girl is about to step out into the street and get hit by a car, but some extremely handsome man pulls her out of the way. So like that's a trope. Okay, so I thought of all the ideas and tropes that I could, and I put them all in one spot. So I also designated a pen and a notepad at the time, and eventually I bought a laptop. So at first with my notebook and my pen, I kept them close, like my nightstand, in my purse or my bag, whatever I had to do to make sure that I can capture my ideas. So anytime I came up with an idea, I wrote it down. If I didn't have a full scene or even a short scene, it was just an idea, I wrote down the idea. If I had a scene, I wrote out the scene. Some scenes were short, some scenes were long. I didn't know where it would go, but I wrote it out anyway. And so after I bought a laptop, of course, I invested in a digital program. I chose Scrivener, but now I'm in Google Docs, so I actually use both. But I loved it. It helped me organize my thoughts, so it was so much easier for me to write. And I kept it close, my laptop, for easy access. I do feel the pen and notepad was easier, but I kept both. So right now I walk around with a laptop and notepads and a bunch of pens. So my mindset was no idea is too small or dumb. So whatever popped up in my head, I wrote it down. Also, I had to keep my notes down here so I don't forget what I want to tell you. After a while, yes, all my words and scenes started coming together, and it was very messy. At first, I didn't really have a direction of where I wanted to go, but eventually those few words turned into hundreds of words, which turned into thousands of words. And so after I got to about 130,000 words, I decided to hire a developmental editor. And with that, he has given me direction on where I want to take all these words. So I'm going to put a link to my editor. His name is Thomas J. Beleza. He's out on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast, but with all of the video platforms these days, it makes it really easy for us to meet on a regular basis. I do no, not everyone can hire a developmental editor. So, like I said, there are lots of resources, especially on YouTube. And even he has a channel with like so many resources and how to. And he's got books. And not only that, but there are a lot of different styles to how people write. So what I did was, after YouTube surfing for a while, I come down to like three main people who had the style that I really enjoyed. But with my editor, he talks about a 27 plot point outline, and that style really worked for me. So we'll get more into that in another video, but basically, yeah, I kept my writing close to me to the point where I am now, and I am headed in a certain direction, and my editor is helping me get to the end. I do like to say just start. Whether you're using pen to pad or paper or digital means to get to your ideas out into the world, that's the whole point. Getting those ideas out of your head into the world and eventually sharing with others. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. OMG, I had to write this down because there's so much and I haven't really decided on what like the back of the book is going to say. So I'm going to just read this to you. First of all, I like to think of my writing as dystopian love stories. So it's romance. I do write romance because I'm a sucker for happy endings, but it's not the typical romance like that you would find on certain channels. But it's a dystopian romance, and it starts off with a very non-traditional family, which nowadays is kind of traditional. The parents aren't married, they have a kid, they've been living together for years. Anyhow, it's non-traditional, traditional family. The Bravo family, Brenda, Rick, and Ricky, they're moving from their Southern California home to their new life in Northern California. And they have to go through a danger zone, basically. So what makes my story dystopian is I basically broke up California into territories, and they all have different belief systems. And so the Bravo family run into I was supposed to read what I wrote. It starts off with the non-traditional Bravo family, Brenda, Rick, and Ricky, moving from their Southern California home to their new life in Northern California. California has been broken up into 3 territories. On their way to their new life, they get caught up in Central California, facing separation, life-threatening danger, and they will have to come face to face with who they really are and what they're willing to do in the name of love. So we'll talk more about it in another video, but just wanted to give you a little bit on that. And well, we'll also discuss other steps in that I've taken to get to where I am now in this writing process. I'll also be sharing some resources in upcoming videos. So yeah, that's it for today. If you like what you're hearing or what we're talking about here on the Writing Bell, please feel free to join our community here and subscribe, hit like, and feel free to send me any questions you may have on what I've done to get where I am so far in the writing process. Love you. Hate to leave you. Gotta go. Bye.